Hey guys, Shiko here, and today let's go over a guide for the second part of the Dragon Shackles raid series, Bone Xiolotl. The raid requirements are 10 to 20 people, where parties of 12 or below will result in the boss having half health compared to parties of 13 or more. Just like the Ice Dragon, each difficulty's rewards can be obtained once per week. The objective here is to defeat the Void Dragon. Before we begin, let's discuss the map layout. Players are able to position themselves close to the boss without provoking it, so long as they don't attack it. After spawning in, tanks should face the boss southeast the entire duration of the fight. For all other players, it is recommended to get close and behind the boss as it will help with later mechanics. Players can be inside or outside his shield wall as it's only for aesthetics. There are also 4 egg-like structures known as divine seals found in each cardinal point of the map. We'll discuss what those do later. Let's go over the role of the tanks. For this fight, tanks should primarily stay southeast of the boss as the boss will constantly do auto attacks that cleave. The first cleave will be a narrow cone that travels outward pretty far, and the second type of auto is a back-to-back near 180 degrees conal cleave. And lastly, one tank will have a huge circular AOE tank buster they'll need to take out to avoid accidentally killing other players. Mitigate this as it deals significant damage. For the first party mechanic, lots of party members will be randomly chosen for a small AoE. Players should avoid overlapping these as these small AoEs will explode back to back. The next mechanic is one that can easily wipe the party. Void Mist Spray will target random players with huge rectangular AoEs that cover nearly the entire arena. The amount of players afflicted increases with higher difficulties, with 2 being on hard and 3 being on nightmare. Players who are marked will only have about 3 seconds in order to resolve the mechanic before the AoEs goes off. In order to resolve this mechanic, players who are marked should phantom dash in the direction towards their rectangular AoE. Since this AoE follows them and cannot change directions, the goal is to try and make as much safe space for the party as possible in order to prevent a wipe. With the party already being close to the boss from the original setup, they should be in the safe spot while the marked players can easily get into the safe positions. However, there may be times where the overlap may be unkind and make it difficult to identify quickly. Here's an example where this might happen. In this case, the same logic still applies in that the marked players will need to phantom dash towards their box in order to resolve this mechanic and prevent wipes. For this mechanic, the boss will generate a large donut AoE that players will need to avoid. At the same time, the boss is also pushing players outward. Players will just need to be inside or outside until the AoE goes off. For Void Corruption Banishment, a circular blue portal ring will appear on the ground where players can stand on and wait until the ring changes the player's dimensions. For harder difficulties, players who enter this portal will have a debuff where they cannot enter this portal again or they will die. Since this mechanic will come up later again, players will need a system of who enters first and who enters second. Generally, people on the left side of the party list in parties 1 and 3 will enter first, while people on the right side of the party list in parties 2 and 4 will enter later. Again, this is only necessary for higher difficulties. When players enter this dimension, they won't be able to target the boss. Instead, they'll see new ads. There will be 2 red golems across each other that will repeatedly emit a ground-pounding shockwave, dealing damage to players close to them. There will be 2 support sentries across from each other that are generating a force field where any robots, except itself, inside cannot take any damage. And lastly, there will be 3 sealed guardians with runes near the egg-like structures. Players, ideally the ranged, should aggro the sealed guardians and bring them over to one of the support sentries, ideally the one closest to where the party teleported in from, as trying to kill the sealed guardians on the red golems and their continuous raid wide is not preferred. However, this does mean that the Seal Guardians won't take any damage while inside the support sentry's field. Players must either kill the support sentry or stun hit it so that the Seal Guardians can take damage. There will also be the occasional line AoEs, just dodge accordingly. Once all the Seal Guardians are dead, they will drop 3 runes that 3 players can interact with in order to pick them up. This completes the dimensional banishment phase. Now, after returning from the other dimension, the Divine Seals will now have runes within them. Each of the Divine Seals will now try to purge the entire battlefield by generating a massive force field. Any players that come into contact with these force fields will immediately die. 3 out of the 4 seals will malfunction as indicated by a whirlwind around them. As a result, the force field generated from these seals will move across the arena, effectively wiping the entire raid. In order to prevent the wipe, you'll notice that the ones malfunctioning correspond to the same runes that the players picked up in the banished dimension. The players with these runes must be on the same side as the same colored rune, and use their item Interact button in order to consume the rune. This will deploy a shield. Shields of matching color will block the oncoming force field from moving any further, successfully resolving the mechanic. From the very beginning of the fight, you may have noticed that certain body parts of the boss have rings around them. This indicates that they've been sealed. As the fight progresses, these body parts become unsealed, resulting in new mechanics. For the first one, let's go over Unsealed Wings. 2 lines of fire will appear in the shape of a cross, and these 2 lines will begin rotating. Players will need to follow the rotation in order to avoid getting hit. At the same time, circular rings of fire will emit from the boss, and in order to not get hit by these, players will need to jump over them while also following the moving cross. As a tip, the closer you are to the center of the cross, the less you have to travel. The next body part is his tail. Whenever his tail is unsealed, he will occasionally do 2 rings of fire damage that the players can jump over. He will now do this frequently throughout the fight, so make sure to dodge, as taking 2 of the rings back to back will be lethal. For Unsealed Claw, he will summon an orb and slam his claws down onto it 4 times, dealing a total of 4 raid wides of moderate damage. Healers heal and mitigate as necessary. And finally, the last new mechanic you'll see is a simple one. The Divine Seals will display 3 line AOEs each. Once the line AOE disappears, an orb will be shot in that direction. You can just stand in one of the empty spots to easily dodge this. Now you've seen all of the mechanics. They will repeat until the boss is killed or the boss kills you. And that concludes our guide. I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.